Angry Joe, and I'm here with Chris Thomas, producer for Battleborn from 2K and Gearbox. A lot of people out on the floor may not know what Battleborn is, and it's actually kind of hard to classify it, right? Because it's like a mixture of a lot of different things. Yeah. Could you tell them how you guys would classify it?
Sure. Well, so at the core of Battleborn, it is a first-person shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is what Gearbox is known for making. 2K, obviously, we make a lot of first-person shooters, and that's kind of our thing. And the thing that really sets it apart, though, is the fact that you have these 25 crazy playable characters, and they each have their own unique abilities and personalities and play styles. And the whole thing is like these characters are fighting to essentially to save the universe from destruction. There's basically one last star in the entire universe. All the other stars have been destroyed.
By who?
By a mysterious enemy that we don't truly understand yet. But you probably got a glimpse of him if you saw the trailer. But yeah, so these heroes are there trying to save the universe and trying to protect this last star.
I did see the demo or the trailer or the session they had behind closed doors. It was I gotta say I was impressed. It was pretty cool.
Cool.
I definitely felt the Gearbox in there. It definitely almost looked like Borderlands or felt like Borderlands. Is it using the same engine? Do you know?
It's definitely using a modified version of the same engine. Yeah. So they've been building on that engine for a very, very long time. And of course, there's going to be inspirations that come from Borderlands.
So a lot of people have been saying that it's a shooter, a shooter MOBA or something. But the gentleman in there was saying there's a single player campaign with multiple missions. So there's like a single player storyline essentially. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, it's funny that the MOBA thing keeps coming up because Battleborn is
because it's 5-on-5, and that's people can't.
And it's also
understand.
the ton of characters. A lot of people will see a ton of characters and they immediately think it's some kind of MOBA, but really, they got their inspiration for making this game from like a lot of different sources. They're really great at pulling together the best aspects of different genres and smashing them together and making something really unique. So I mean, there's, like I said, it's a first-person shooter, but it's got RPG elements. It's got it's got some inspiration from MOBAs, fighting games. They've even pulled some of their inspiration from some of the movies that have the crazy cast of characters like Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's kind of all over the place.
Each champion seems pretty unique. They handed out this character guide here. So how many characters are we actually getting at release?
We're getting 25. So each one of them are totally different play styles too. So like you mentioned that you played Oscar Mike, and that he seemed like you're very straightforward,
very standard, straightforward. He was kind of boring to be honest. So, but I switched it up.
So the funny thing is, I actually used to think that exact same thing about Oscar Mike until I started going down. As I was leveling him up, I was starting to put more points into his stealth ability.
Okay.
So instead of just being a run and gun shooter character, he became more of a stealthy assassin for me. So I'm sneaking up behind people cloaked and taking them out from behind.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Totally awesome.
So you can make these characters through the Helix system, is what they were saying in the demo, feel different. Than their standard stereotype that they should be or whatever. So they can play different ways.
Absolutely, yeah. So the Helix system lets you level up from 1 to 10 within a single match, whether you're in the story mode or whether you're in competitive multiplayer.
And how many people can play in the single player story mode?
Up to 5.
So pretty much 5 all around. So 5 in single player co-op or 5v5 in multiplayer.
But you can do single player. You can just play by yourself if you want.
Okay, you can. Okay, cool. And so is this because, a lot of these types of games that have the different different heroes or whatever you guys are calling them, a lot of people think that they're free to play. Is this a free to play game or is this a full retail type of game?
This is definitely a full retail product. Gearbox and 2K, we're known for making high quality AAA titles. And that's just, that's the model that we've always stuck with, and it's been really successful for us. And this is a perfect representation of another one of those titles. Each one of those characters is so hard to make and so time consuming. It's literally like taking the characters in Borderlands, were pretty intricate, and each one of them felt totally different. So it's like taking that and cranking it up by 25. So it's a lot of effort to build.
So it's an extensive single-player campaign. You're going full retail. We're going to need our money's worth.
Yeah.
Is it like cutscenes? Are we getting a real story, or is it just missions strung together until you save that last star?
You're definitely getting a bunch of missions, but you're getting an overarching story with those missions. It's going to tell you all about what's going on.
Are there cutscenes, or is it just like a storyboard kind of thing?
There's going to be some stuff in there.
Stuff in there.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it's
it's interesting because a gentleman told me that I can pick any of the champions and do in the story. So if I could pick one, and then I get bored of that guy. Mission 3, I can switch it up to somebody completely different.
Yep.
And I was just wondering how does that work within the story? Do they have lines specific to what's happening?
Well, you're not. Yeah. So you're not locked into playing any character throughout the campaign. You can switch it up, just like you said, throughout all the different missions. The way that they're telling the story, like narratively, they're telling it in a way that it doesn't break the story or the narrative to switch up the characters, because they're all the characters are involved in the story and involved in the different missions. So it doesn't like lock you into anything. It makes you feel like you're like the story. It doesn't work.
And are we going to see 25 is a really great amount? Are we going to see additional characters come perhaps post-release for DLC, anything like that?
Well, right now, I mean, both 2K and Gearbox are just solely working our asses off to just get as much as we can possibly get into this game, just so the box product is, as robust as possible. It would be great, if the demand is there and the game is really successful, we would love to support it post-release. We would love to keep doing that. We have a pretty good track record with Gearbox of just making really high quality DLC. Right now we don't have any planned, but like I said, if the demand's there, great.
And are you guys concerned at all? Because I don't know if it's bad timing or something, but it seems like a lot of these first-person or arena combat shooters are coming out. There's even one that almost has a very similar name to yours, like Battlecry, Battleborn. It's very, very similar. Are you guys concerned at all that it will get lost in the shuffle?
I don't think so. I mean, I think one of the things that really sets us apart is that story campaign. People, and there's a lot.
Since it's Gearbox, are we going to get that villain that's like Handsome Jack? That's got that personality, because that's one of the main reasons. We went through that in Borderlands.
Oh yeah, you're gonna totally get that, and that's the cool thing about that's what I think sets us apart from from the rest of the games that are similar in this way, that have a lot of heroes and stuff, is because we're gonna have that epic campaign. We're gonna have all those cool story moments.
Does it have the humor? Does it have humor, or is it super serious?
No, it's definitely got some humor. I mean, it's got that that sharp Gearbox humor that you've seen in Borderlands 2. It's a little different. It's a little different. The character's obviously a lot different than Borderlands, but you're definitely going to get some of that humor.
Obviously, Gearbox has this pedigree of all this cool loot, or it constantly keeps the game fresh with new guns. How are we going to keep Battleborn fresh with abilities? Each champion has their own abilities, and how many abilities does each guy have?
Yeah, so each hero has within their helix tree, they're able to augment their abilities, and their natural abilities are basically there's one that's on LB, there's one that's on RB, and then there's an ultimate on basically the Y button. And
then you can and then the helix ones, did that give you new abilities, or they basically augment those and allow you to play them different ways?
They augment it. So for instance, like what I was saying earlier about Oscar Mike, one of the abilities I almost always pick is an ability to increase the damage he does when he pops out of stealth. So that basically gives me the chance to sneak up behind
Assassin
somebody
style.
and just do a ton of damage to somebody, when I come out of stealth. So a lot of them will do stuff like that. A lot of them will give you, might change the character to be a more defensive character, or might change the character to be more of an offensive character, or like some of the support characters will have just different ways that their abilities, like their buffs or their heals or something that they will work. So it actually goes a long way to
making each guy play differently.
To change up the gameplay.
It seems like there's like a primary attack. At least the guy I was playing with, the mech guy. I'm not sure what his name is. He was really fun because he had a mixture of both.
Yep.
He had the gun shooting that seemed like his primary attack, secondary attack with the sword.
Yep.
I had 2 abilities, one that shot like a missile or something.
Yep.
I don't know what the other one was. Maybe I didn't use it much.
That one was a dash.
A dash. That's right. To get me in to use my sword a lot quicker.
Yep.
Never got to use his ultimate. What was his ultimate?
His ultimate is actually one of my favorites. So he flies up into the air. So he gets a bird's eye view of the battlefield, and he gets a big target on the ground. So you just fly up in the air, zero in on a bunch of other heroes that you want to take out or enemies, and then he just smashes down on the ground. Just a big explosion.
Sweet. Okay, and when does it come out, and what platforms is it on?
It's coming out this winter, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.